This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
Nataraj moves the Central Administrative Tribunal against Latika Saran's appointment as the DGP. The government will now have to respond. The bus strike by the trade unions in the city comes to an end, but a deadline has been set for the government for a final revision of their wages. 2 days after the Sri Lankan diplomat's visit, the city police nails 7 accused in the Buddhist center attacks. Scores of the fishermen community are enraged over their slain brethren. They protest against the Lankan Navy for the alleged killings. Pamper yourself with a 3G treat that's heading Chennai wards. It might not be too heavy to your purse as well.
Entertainment, mobile internet, social networking, browsing, and of course all other enabled non-voice and data services. 3G is really what would become a key driver.
Hello and welcome to the news tonight with me, Evelyn Matthew. Let's also bring you our national top stories. Government sources tell NDTV CVC PJ Thomas has to resign on a day when the government finds itself in a fresh controversy. The government on the mat, the black money issue as well. The Supreme Court asks what action has been taken against tax violators. The oil minister says decontrol of kerosene and diesel isn't politically feasible. Eden Gardens is out of the World Cup race. The ICC says preparations are too slow. And the Australian Open loses its sheen with both the top seeds crashing out. Top cop R. Nataraj has once again moved the issue of the appointment of the DGP. This time he has filed a complaint with the Central Administrative Tribunal against the appointment order of Latika Saran as the DGP. The government has to respond to the tribunal within 2 weeks. Just to bring you up to speed with what had transpired earlier, this is the second time that Nataraj has acted on the issue. He had approached the Madras High Court earlier. The court had at that time recommended to the state government that at least a list of 5 names be drawn up and sent to the UPSC, out of which 3 would be shortlisted. This was done, and Latika Saran was reappointed as the Director General of Police by the state government in November. Now, in his petition to the tribunal, Nataraj has said that he was her senior and that his name was on top of the UPSC list. Also, that he has 3 meritorious medals against her too, and that he has headed a department independently. The ball is now in the court of the state government. Ms. Saran is the first person to be appointed the DGP in the country through the process of empanelment by the UPSC. Now, the day-long strike by the trade union workers working with the bus services have come to an end. At least 25% of the buses in the city stepped on their brakes for a day of strike today. But the unionists convened a meeting this evening and declared to withdraw their strike. They have decided that if the government does not review their pay hike before the 1st of February, they will hit the streets once again. The strike is to ask for a revision of the pay scale on par with the Electricity Board members. Let's in fact bring you some of those scenes of protest we've been seeing throughout today from different parts of the city. Well, first up is the Vadapalani depot, which did see a heavy police deployment. Around 125 buses of the usual 171 plied the streets. The scene was no different at Coimbatore as well. There's the CMBT, one of the most important bus terminals in the city for you. The queues were quite long there as well, the commuters as well being an impatient lot. Meanwhile, the Ananagar bus stand too wore a rather empty look with few buses plying. Several protesters said they were being cheated and their dues were not given to them. And the Commissioner of Police, Greater Chennai, T. Rajendran, told us that strict action will be taken against those who plan to protest in violent ways.
There was absolutely no impact. It was normal, except for some stray cases of stone pelting. which was swiftly brought under control. And we'll be arresting the culprits also very shortly. They'll be dealt with according to law. We'll register cases, and under the PPD Act, we'll be arresting them. See, even early morning, much before dawn, there were some demonstrations in front of certain depots, but they were handled very tactfully and there was no untoward incident. And there were certain other areas where we thought there might be some problems. That is why we had to deploy heavy police bandobast, and fortunately there was no incident or any problem there.
Well, in other news, the men who vandalized the Buddhist center in the city 3 nights back have been hunted down by the city police. These men from the Periyar Dravida Karagam were identified from the CCTV footage received and recorded at the center. Police added that all the accused have confessed to have committed the crime. In the attacks, 4 monks were injured and the center was also damaged. This was, remember, just 100 meters away from the police commissioner's office in Egmore area. The Sri Lankan High Commissioner also flew down to the city from the capital post these attacks to visit the injured Buddhist monks at the Mahabodhi Society. They were produced at the Chief Metropolitan Magistrates Court in Egmore and launched as the Pural prison thereafter. Our crime reporter Salim now joins us live from our Hindu studios. Salim, what have these men really said in their confession statements? Why did they really resort to such attacks?
All the accused who were arrested in this case say that they actually attacked the Mahabodhi Society in Egmore. The reason, 2 Indian fishermen were allegedly killed by the Lankan Navy, and they say that this is just a retaliation to what has happened to the Indian fishermen. And the police, with the help of the CCTV footage and also some intelligence input, zeroed in on all the 7 accused, and the accused, as you said, confessed to have committed the crime. They were produced before the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate Court in Egmore. And when the police brought all these 7 accused into the Egmore court, a few advocates staged a brief demonstration, and after which they were produced before the magistrate and lodged at the Pural prison. Evelyn?
Right. Thanks very much indeed, Salim, for joining us with your details. Well, like he said, it was triggered in retaliation to the killings of the Indian fishermen allegedly by the Sri Lankan Navy. But the cries over the inhuman killing of those 2 fishermen in the last 10 days has just gotten louder. After a show of sympathy by the AIA-DMK Supremo Ms. J.J. Lalita at Nagapattinam district yesterday, protests are now only taking place on a larger scale across different districts of the state. The fishing community has been protesting over this case in areas like Tanjavur, Pudukottai and Nagapattinam. In Vedaranyam, in fact, over 400 fishermen protested for about 2 hours. Back here in the city as well, 50 fishermen took to the streets in front of the All India Radio office, voicing their anger and the rage really concerned over this issue. Now, in some more news from the state, a meeting of the Tamil Nadu cabinet chaired by the Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi was held at the state's secretariat this evening. It was attended by the Finance Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister and other cabinet members, and went on for almost an hour. Sources say that the do's and the don'ts for the budget that is to be presented on the 4th of February were among the issues brainstormed at that meeting. Up ahead on the bulletin, make way for the Lord of the Waves to hit you. The magical click of a button unleashes in Chennai starting today.